Hello, my name is Chad Williams from D&Debrief. Today we're going to talk about a rogue barbarian power build where specifically we're looking to use the charger feat. I want you to imagine a barbarian running through the battlefield with speeds beyond even a level 20 monk, stabbing its target with the precision of a rogue and getting out of danger before anything even has the thought of being able to attack it. We're going to build our character to be able to move 100 feet or more per turn, stabbing its opponent and getting out of danger before anyone even notices it's there. And so the point of this character is to start and end away from the midst of the battle. Because let's face it, rogues are great, and melee rogues are amazing damage dealers, but the problem is they are consistently in the middle of battle and under pressure of being attacked. And if that's the case, they don't have the defenses or the hit points to keep themselves alive. So the Charger feat is well known to be one of the most useless feats in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. People often just disregard it. There's videos all over YouTube saying it's not good and don't take it. Now, it has its limitations, but I set out to see if there's a build I can make that actually specifically uses Charger and is more than that, just based around Charger. So let's first off talk about what the Charger feat does. The Charger feat is when you use your action to dash, you can use a bonus action to attack with one melee weapon or to shove a creature 10 feet. Now the attack will add 5 bonus damage if it hits. So the essential idea here is that you need to first off take your action to dash, and then secondly use your bonus action to either shove or attack a creature. What dash means is you can move your entire movement with your movement action, and then you can do that again with your dash action. So what that means is your speed is doubled. So if you start off with 30 feet of movement, a dash action lets you move 60 feet of movement. The ability to shove is very useful in a lot of different scenarios. For example, if you're fighting alongside a cliff, or if there's an open window nearby, or if you're on a swing bridge. It can really just turn a battle right around if you can, instead of fighting that big boss, throw him off the bridge and suddenly he's out of the combat. But really, the build I'm going to talk about is not going to focus too much on that, but instead we're going to focus on that dash and 5 extra damage. The reason people don't like the Charger feat is because it takes your action and your bonus action to make one attack. So the argument is if you are a fighter or another class that has the extra attack skill, which means you can make 2 attacks in one round, it's not going to be functional because the Charger feat really only lets you do 1 attack. Now this also means that dual wielders won't be able to benefit with their offhand weapon. So what we need to think about is a build that really just takes advantage of making a single attack. So immediately we're going to wipe out anything about classes that have the extra attack skill and focus on something that can do the most amount of damage in 1 attack. And what I came out with was the Rogue. The Rogue could dual wield, just like any other class can, but really the main point of being a rogue, or one main point in combat of being a rogue, is that sneak attack. Sneak attack is just once per round, and it has extra damage if your rogue has advantage or if your target is fighting something else in a melee style. So we're going to build a strength-based rogue with a few levels in Barbarian, either 2 or 4. I'm going to talk about the 4 levels in Barbarian today, but you can easily modify it to 2 levels. I start my character at 16 strength and 16 dexterity, but later on we're going to build that strength and leave that dexterity where it is. Now outside of the battle, this character is going to behave like a rogue. You're going to have a slightly less efficient rogue outside of battle just because our dexterity is not going to be maxed out because we're going to focus on strength. But within battle, you're going to really focus on that strength. What we do is we start off with a single rogue level. And for this build, I'm going to use the human variant because it really just gets us a feat right away, which will be the Charger feat. So we get all the bonuses of the level 1 rogue, like all the skills, expertise, so you can double your proficiency on 2 skills, and the dex saves, and everything you'll need. Our second level, we're going to take our first Barbarian level. We're going to stick with Barbarian until we're done with it from here on out. So that's going to be 4 levels of Barbarian here, but you could limit it to 2, and I'll talk a bit about that when we get to level 4 Barbarian. So the first thing we get with Barbarian is Rage. Now Rage isn't really something you put in with a rogue. It feels really out of place. But we're doing a power build here. So you can roleplay your rogue to really get caught up in the battle and go into rage while still being dexterous and sly outside of battle. But really, I'm just going to talk about how to build this character, not how to roleplay it as much. Now, the great thing about raging as this build is that first off, you get a little bit extra damage based on your barbarian level. And that's good, and we're always going to want to stack up a little bit more damage over and over again throughout this build. But you also get advantage on strength checks, which is also alright. It's pretty good. So you're not going to get grappled as easily, you're not going to be pushed around, things like that. But really importantly, you get resistance to physical, so piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning. And that is going to be huge, because the point of this character is to be outside of battle. But that's not always going to be perfect. You're going to be far from battle, which means melee characters might not be able to hit you, but that doesn't stop a bolt or an arrow from coming at you. So having that resistance to physical damage is really going to help. Or maybe there is another melee character on the board that's very fast as well, or you get surprised, something comes up behind you, or whatnot. It's always good to have those extra defenses. And so Rage is going to give us a lot more hit points, if you will, because it effectively doubles your hit points to physical damage. And that's going to mean you're going to survive longer, and then if you're in a rough situation, you're going to be able to get out of there your next turn. We also get unarmored defense, where what that does is if you're not wearing armor, you can have 10 plus your dexterity plus your con modifier AC. Now, if you have a good con modifier on top of your dex modifier, then this could really help you out. The level 1 barbarian also gives us something important, the martial weapon proficiency. Now we could go and grab that rapier at 1d8 damage while still being able to sneak attack our enemies. Barbarian level 2, you get Danger Sense, which gives you advantages for dex saves when you're talking about traps or spells, which is super useful, and your dex is pretty good, which goes really well hand in hand with the rogue. But the really great thing about level 2 Barbarian is Reckless Attack. Reckless Attack means you're going all in. You're going to go as fast and hard as you can, and you're going to just really have to reset yourself later. Specifically what it does is it gives you advantage on your attack, but then all enemies have advantage on you. So why is this useful, and why am I advocating that you use it every single time? It's useful because it gives you advantage on your attack. Now what that means is automatic sneak attack. So that means you can really just focus on what you want to do without worrying about what your allies are doing, or if you can get the drop on someone or whatnot. Is what you want to do, how you want to do it, and you do it. Now the obvious issue, and why I usually don't even consider this skill, especially as a barbarian, is, well, then everything has advantage on you, and that sounds dangerous. But our build is about getting out of there. So if you're out of the battle, then boom, advantage on you doesn't matter if no one can even come and attack you. Now again, you might have some arrows or some, stray range spell attacks coming at you, but your movement economy allows you to really find cover. So you can slip behind a tree or a boulder, or really just get out of the way, turn around in another hallway so range attacks can't attack you. Now, if you're in an open field, you'll be a little bit more vulnerable with Reckless Attack, and you might want to be careful using it. But the point here is you're going to get advantage, which means you can always control when you're sneak attacking. Next, you have a choice. I'm going to take Barbarian level 3 and then eventually level 4, but you don't have to. You can stop here and go right back to Rogue and start focusing on increasing that sneak attack and getting all their other benefits as well. But the reason I'm going into a level 3 Barbarian here is because Path of the Zealot. Path of the Zealot gives you Divine Fury at level 3. And what it does is it gives you an additional 1d6 and half your Barbarian level of damage each turn. But what's really important here is that damage is either radiant or necrotic, depending on what you choose. Now that's really important because what if something has resistance like we do to physical damage? But radiant and necrotic won't be halved. Especially, and on top of that, what if something is vulnerable? Let's say you're in a campaign where there's undead everywhere. Take that radiant damage and it's going to do some extra damage. It's going to double your dice. And level 4 barbarian, we're going to take the mobile feat. Now, for melee characters, I often love the mobile feat. I always try and work it in somehow. And this is what it does. It gives you 10 extra movement. Now with this build, because we're always dashing, that gives us 20 extra movement. Now what we're doing is we're moving from 30 to 40 feet base, and now we're moving at 80 feet per turn. The next important thing here is when you're using the dash action, which we will be all the time, difficult terrain does not cost extra movement for you. That's incredible because the first thing as a DM I would do to a build like this is throw up grease or web or put you in a swamp or something and slow that character down. Now it slows everybody down, but that character now is back to normal speed. But now with the mobile feat, no chance. And that alone is incredible. So if you're in a swamp and everything's difficult terrain, your companions are now moving at 15 feet while you're still running around at 80 feet at this point. But the last thing, and I would argue the most important thing about this feat that's going to help you, although everything so far has just been great benefits for this character, is the fact that if you attack a creature, they cannot take an attack of opportunity on you until your turn is over. So if you're running in, you can hit them and they can't do anything about it, and you run out and they can't attack you, that is perfect. So you run in, you hit them, and you get out. Now other things can have attack of opportunity, so you're going to have to maneuver your way around, but you have the speed to do that. So now that we've taken mobility, let's talk about our speed. We're a level 5 character, and let's compare this to a monk. We started off at speed 30, and then we get plus 10 for mobility. So that's 40 speed. But of course, we're going to double that each round to 80 speed with our charger feat and the fact that we're always dashing. A level 5 pure monk, on the other hand, I'm not going to talk about how they can take the mobile feat or charger and stuff like that, but just thinking briefly, a monk at level 5 can move 40 feet. So you're doubling what a monk can. More than that, without digging into the paths and other factors like the feats we've been talking about of a monk, by level 20, they can only move 60 feet per round. So at level 5, you're already faster than a level 20 monk. This is one of the fastest combat builds in the game. And that's the beauty of the charger feat, is that you're really going to have that speed behind you and nothing can match it. Now, we're at level 5. We have 1 rogue, 4 barbarian. Let's head back to the rogue. So level 2 rogue, unfortunately, is going to be a downer. So at level 2, we get cunning action. Now what cunning action does is it lets you use your bonus action to disengage, hide, or dash. What that means is we're already using our bonus action to attack when we're charging, so we don't have a bonus action for cunning attack to even work. So unfortunately what this build means is if you're just going to continuously be using the charger feat by using an action to dash and then using your bonus action to attack, then cunning action just doesn't work. You're not going to have a use for it. So really, the unfortunate part of this build is cunning action becomes useless unless if you're in a situation where you're not going to continuously go in and attack. For example, if you're low on health and you just need to hide, you could hit something and try and hide away. Next, we have level 3 of the rogue, and we get to choose a path. The path we're going to choose is Scout. Now there's 2 main reasons we're using Scout, and the first one is at level 3 you get Skirmisher. Now what Skirmisher is if an enemy ends their turn 5 feet from you, you can use your reaction to move half your speed away from that enemy without provoking an attack of opportunity. So in a turn, you've run in, you've hit something, and you've run out. But if there's the case that there's still something that can hit you with a melee attack, it does so, but then you can continue moving away. So this extra movement economy just lets you really navigate again, because if you have a few of them coming at you, the first one hits you and then you can move away before the others get there. The second reason is because at level 9 rogue, you get superior mobility, and that just adds another 10 feet of movement to your character. Now again, because we're dashing all the time, we're moving an extra 20 per round because of that. So by level 9 rogue or level 13 build here, you're going to be moving 50 normal feet but with our dash action, you're going to be moving 100 feet. Also with Scout, you get expertise and proficiency in both nature and survival checks. In combination with your expertise skill that you get at level 3 and level 6 Rogue, even though we haven't hit level 6 yet, you get 6 different skills where you can double your proficiency in. And that's the beauty of Rogue. They have all these skills that not only are they good at, but they're great at. And so you're not losing any of that from using this charger feat and using this build. You're still that same old, really typically, really skilled Rogue, especially outside of battle. At level 4 Rogue, we get another ability increase or feat, and we're going to start putting into strength. So our strength's still 16, and we're level 4 Rogue, which means that we're level 9 in total. So let's bump that up. Let's get it to 18 strength, and then eventually at Rogue level 8, we're also going to bump it up again to get 20 strength and max that out. At level 5 Rogue, we get Uncanny Dodge, which means as a reaction after you get hit, you can take half damage. This is really important for this build because we already have a Scout feature where if you get hit by a melee attack, you can run away for your reaction, so you can't do both at the same time. So if you get hit by a ranged attack, for example a spell, now you can take half damage. As I mentioned earlier, we have then expertise again at level 6 Rogue, which means you can double your proficiency on 2 other skills. If we're going to do the traditional Rogue, we're talking about stealth and sleight of hand. That are probably your first 2 expertise. You get nature and survivalist as your Scout feature. Then here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into athletics and perception. Because perception is really good. You need to be able to see your battlefield. And athletics, so you're able to really maneuver your battlefield a bit better. So maybe you need to climb a tree, or you need to jump over a chasm, or something like that. At Rogue level 7, we get evasion. So if you succeed a dex save against a spell or a trap or something else, you don't get half damage, but you get no damage. Now this binds really well with Barbarian level 2 Danger Sense that we got much earlier, where you get advantages on dex saves for traps and spells. So now, not only are you running in and out of battle trying to protect yourself, you have the Skirmisher ability, so if some melee does hit you, you can run away. You have Uncanny Dodge, so that if you get hit, you can half your damage, but now any dex type damage, so fireball from a mage for example, you have advantage against the save, and if you do save, you get no damage. So you're really just building up more and more your defenses here, and you're increasing your damage as you go. So now we've reached level 13. So first level we started at Rogue, then the next 4 levels we were in Barbarian, and up until now we're at Rogue again. We have 9 levels of Rogue at this point and 4 levels of Barbarian. I can keep going and going, but really the idea is just keep going into the Rogue ability. You're going to get more and more sneak attack. Let's summarize the damage of this build. Our Rapier gives us 1d8 damage. Our sneak attack gives us 5d6 damage. Divine Fury is 1d6 plus 2. Our Charger Feat is plus 5 damage. Our Strength is plus 5 damage. And our Rage is plus 2 damage. What that gives us is a 1d8 plus 6d6 plus 14 damage. That averages out to about 40 damage per round. And at bare minimum, you're getting, because you're getting the plus 14 and you're rolling 7 different dice, you're getting 21 damage, and your max damage here, not including crits, is 58 damage. Now, I haven't done the math, I haven't done all this, and it might not be the biggest output of damage I can create, and I bet you it's not. But the idea that you can do 100 feet through combat on each turn, and with the mobile feat you can even do that through difficult terrain, is incredible, still knocking out really heavy damage at advantage every round, and really doing tons of damage and moving wherever you need to go. There's never going to be anyone that's not accessible to your maul, and you can always take them out. Thanks for watching. I really hope you liked the build. Give it a shot and let me know how it goes. If you have any suggestions on how to improve it, or some commentary, let me know. Some criticisms, I'd be more than happy to adjust it with your ideas in mind. If you have any other builds you want to see, let me know too. I'm going to be pumping out builds, but I want to know what you want to see. Do you want the ultimate tank? Do you want a ranged healer? What do you want? Let me know, and I'll try and build it for you. This is Chad Williams with D&Debrief, and I'm signing out.